Consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com.
You know what the greatest thing is about the exchange with Scott Spears? Well, not only do they have Scott Spears, but they got all kinds of fabulous guests, too. So tune in. The exchange. Scott Spears. Right here. Hello there, Soup here. Say, if you want to be really entertained, just tune in to The Exchange, starring my good friend Scott Spears, here on this station.
Hey, Scott Spears along with you on, it looks like a newscast now. It looks like we might be like we're doing a newscast here pretty soon. It is a Wednesday edition of The Exchange. We're already laughing. That's got to be a good sign as we're in on this Wednesday episode. Want to take a moment and mention our new sponsor here, Sports Entertainment Wrestling. Website www.scwprowrestling.net. Catch them on Facebook, SEW Marion. Just type that into the search bar. Have big shows coming up on December 17th, January 7th, and February the 4th. All locations will be at the Unkefer Union Hall, 675 Unkefer Avenue here in Marion. You can get your tickets at Norris Grocery here in Marion. And their offices, the wrestling offices, are located at the Union Hall, 675 Unkefer Avenue. But if you want to get in touch with them, I would say jump on the internet, SEW Pro Wrestling, all one word, .net, and the December 17th show, which will be coming up this Saturday, $5 at the door, or you can just bring 2 canned food items or 2 boxed items, and you can get into that event free. All cash and food will be donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Marion. Well, excuse me. All cash will be donated to the Boys and Girls Club. All food will be donated to the Victory Center Food Pantry. So a nice event. I know food pantries are in need of it this year. So go out, a night of very reasonably priced entertainment and help people out this time of year. Very important. So we'll start this episode off by going down to Charlie, who's now down there, for fascinating facts.
Yes, down there, yes. I want to talk about geohazards. Have you ever heard of a geohazard?
Well, geo means earth, doesn't it?
Yes.
There you go.
And this is an earth hazard. Sinkholes, caves, things like that, landslides. You'd be surprised, but there are such things in Marion County. And right now, the state of Ohio is doing a survey of southern Marion County and Delaware County especially has a lot of sinkholes. And a sinkhole and a cave, they're teamed together as a karst, K-A-R-S-T. And if you look that up in the dictionary, you'll see that it covers geohazards. You wouldn't think, just offhand that there are sinkholes around, but there are. Sinkholes developed by the dissolving of limestone or dolomite, and maybe underground water systems dissolve the stone, and all of a sudden you have nothing to support the land, and down she goes.
Oh, geohazards.
That's right. Now, in the cities, the big cities, the geohazard, it would be sewers that wash out onto the street, and cars go sailing in. Well, so that's my story today.
Well, that's interesting, sinkholes, and I mean, it can be troublesome.
Oh, yes.
I've known roofs to cave in. I don't know if that's a geohazard.
Yeah,
but
some of my best friends are sinkhole. Oh, no, that's another story.
Another story for another day. Mary Ann, words of wisdom.
Well, this week we've been talking about love. Love is important every day, but especially during the holidays. And these words of wisdom come from the famous Dr. Karl Menninger. And this is what he said: love cures people, both the ones who give it and the ones who receive it. So if you're loved, it means a lot. And if you give love, it means a lot.
That's true, but is love always unconditional?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think for some people it is, and for some it isn't.
I think sometimes you got to throw conditions on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
Sometimes.
it's just, but sometimes it can be unconditional, I think. Well, I'll tell you, you want to talk love, you want to talk people, you're talking about the Republican Party, because they are all over the atmosphere in the last few weeks. And boy, a lot to talk about here. Let's start out by talking about Herman Cain, who we've talked about so much. He has now given it up, I think. He might trickle back in, but he now
he
has...
said he was taking, what was the terminology?
Kind of like a leave of absence.
He was suspending
Suspended
it,
his
which doesn't
campaign.
mean that he's given up the idea. It just means it's suspended. So
Now,
he'll come back.
well, he says his wife said it, it basically dealt with his wife, and things were becoming uncomfortable.
Right.
And, but once again, to this day where we sit here when we're taping this show, none of these allegations have been proven. So, the extramarital affairs. So we're sitting here today, none of them have been proven. Was he run out by people maybe who just wanted him ran out?
Well, who knows?
He was doing pretty well at one point.
Very well, right. But I don't think you can blame it on, he wants to blame it on the media. I mean, the media is just reporting things. They're not, they're reporting what they are given, the information that they're given. With so many accusations, I mean, you just wonder if it's not true when there are so many.
Well, I think it could be true, but I think also, we talk so many times on this program about Republican commentators like Limbaugh and Hannity and the things that they say which are absolutely true and are untrue and absolutely meant to tear people down. Well, if I would feel better about these stories being reported if they had some proof.
Well, they had those women that came forth, and why would a woman come forth and get all of that feedback if it weren't true? And I don't think they were paid anything to do that.
Well, I think part of it was, did you ever notice, and this is what I always come back to, did you ever notice nobody cared to report him until he was up in the polls? Where were these women when he started to run for president?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
It wasn't until he got the big whip and all of a sudden he was leading Romney, then all of a sudden they were coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
He'd been running for president for 6 months. Where were they then?
It's a good question. Never thought about that. Yeah.
Charlie?
They were probably trying to get up the courage to make it or bring it out into the open.
So when they saw his poll numbers, that gave them
they
courage?
thought if he's going to be president of the United States, this ought to be maybe brought out. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. That's if I'm sitting there and being a middle of the road person, to me that's a little suspect. Because if I was they were sexually harassed, is what I've heard, or he was having an affair. The last woman whose face we saw says it was a full-blown affair for 17 years. Well, where was she when he was running for president? Wouldn't we like to know this before he gets the big momentum?
Well, that's true, but those are questions that nobody can answer. So.
No, but I think when he comes out and says he's going to suspend his campaign, one of the reasons he said was because he said it is the media trying to pull him down, much in the way, conversely, that we've talked a lot about.
Or it could be his competitors. Who knows?
Well, that's not far from the truth. I mean, it could be his competitors. It could be the Democratic Party. I don't know who was doing it, but I wish there was some concrete evidence somewhere.
There's probably a lot of things to come out yet. The campaign, the Republican campaign isn't over yet. They have not selected their man. And
well, it's been up and down and up and down.
Yes,
And this person's ahead, and then he's down, and then this person comes up, and so forth and so on. It's been a really, it hasn't been a smooth.
it looked to me like for a long time, Gingrich was the favorite of maybe Limbaugh and Hannity and maybe others. But they're kind of backing off now a little.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Well, he's a very, very smart man. There is no doubt about it.
He was a professor, wasn't he?
Yes, he's very smart, but he has so much, well, and you know, this is getting to be ridiculous because it's said every day, baggage, and I'm getting tired of the word baggage, but there's so many things in his past that, you know, are not conducive to being the president of the most powerful country in the world.
Well, let's talk about a quote that this smart man had to say this past week.
Oh, I know, I don't like that quote either.
Really poor children in really
Yeah.
poor neighborhoods have no habits of working and have nobody around them who works. So they literally have no habit of showing up on Monday. They have no habit of staying all day. They have no habit of, I do this and you give me cash unless it's illegal. And that's Newt Gingrich speaking.
Yeah, that's horrible because these children live in terrible conditions, and you know he recommends that they be the janitor of the schools. And
Right.
you know, I mean, we've had child labor laws in how long?
That's
See,
right.
I don't think he's that smart. What did Newt Gingrich
I think he's
ever
smart. I think he's smart, but he has a terrible tongue. I mean, the things that come out of his mouth are horrible.
Isn't this the same guy, as Mary Ellen Withrow said, who when she was there shut down the government?
Oh,
right,
well,
that's right.
actually, and he was censured. You know, I mean, he was censured by the very Congress that he helped put into power, because you know he did a lot for the Republicans as far as bringing a lot of them into the Congress. But he lied, and he was guilty of fraud, and he was censured. And
When I see him up there, because I assume to run for president you have to have some kind of brains to get as far as any of these people
and
did.
he is smart.
But smart, if I put him up against Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, John Huntsman, Santorum, I don't know that he's any smarter than any of them.
Well, maybe not. I don't know, but I just don't think he's a very nice person. That's the thing. I just think to be the president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, I cannot see it. I absolutely can't see it.
Well,
But that's my opinion.
well, it's funny
You
to
know, I don't understand the Republican Party. And I've said this before, John Huntsman, to me, would be a wonderful representative as president of the United States. I mean, he has, he carries himself, he isn't nasty, he doesn't make these horrible comments about people, and he was loved in his state. I mean, he won the governorship in Utah overwhelmingly. He's been an ambassador. I don't understand why, you know, he's so far down in the polls.
Well, I think for the Republicans, he's too liberal. And I think working...
Well, maybe that's the
Well, I
reason.
think, and also working under Obama, I think they're afraid to have him go up against Obama because I'm sure there are a few things that the administration could point out about this guy who they know so well.
Well, that could be the case.
Now, the other guy, Santorum, I don't know why he can't
He's
get
coming
his...
up. He's coming up.
But not in a quick way. And,
No.
and Rick Perry, he's almost all but forgotten.
Oh,
He-
yeah.
he
Well,
ran
Rick Perry
himself.
would not be a good choice. He would not be.
He ran himself into the ground.
Yeah.
Newt Gingrich came out. I mean, he was
You know,
one-
I think they made a mistake in having so many debates. That's what I think was the mistake, because then you saw all of these individual things coming out for each one of them. And I think, you know, people just got tired of it.
Well, I think they've spent too much time tearing each other down.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, they're not doing... I think the number of debates, that sure has brought in more chances to attack other people. But I think if they would have stayed on topic and attacked Obama's policies...
Well, that's
and-
what Mitt Romney is doing right now. But he's also lying about the things he's saying about Obama. So...
Well, I think, but maybe he needs to do that to stimulate his party because they like, they want somebody who's going to go after Obama, that's for sure. And I think that's why they're on Gingrich's door, because when you think about
Well, he's
this...
a good debater.
Yeah, well, I think that Gingrich was the first person to announce maybe aside from Romney, to announce he was running for the Republican nomination. And in the beginning, nobody really had anything to do with him. He couldn't get anywhere in the polls. It was Romney, and when Perry came in, it was Perry. I've never seen such a fickle 6 months.
And also, he's a flip-flopper. I mean, all the things that he was for and now is against, and that's what Mitt Romney's saying. But then again, Mitt Romney is the same thing. He's also flipped on things. But people do change their minds. I mean, let's face it. So I don't know. It really hasn't been a fun thing to watch because it's just been it's almost a joke.
Charlie, do they want Newt Gingrich? Does the Republican Party want him, or do they just not want Romney?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is. They don't want Romney. They seem to not like Romney.
But if you notice, over the years, Newt Gingrich has been a guest on conservative radio shows probably more than anyone else. They really take to Newt Gingrich.
Yeah, they do.
But
But you know what I think is wrong? I think it's wrong that the Republicans don't like Mitt Romney because of his religion. I think that is terrible. I'm sorry. You should not be judged on your religion.
Well, I don't know if the Republican Party doesn't like him because of that. I think they look at the map and they say, if we don't win the evangelical vote, we're not winning. I mean, it's simple as that.
Well, that could be the case too, yeah.
Well, wasn't there talk when Obama was running, and not even so much him, let's go back to John Kerry, because that was a really close election with he and Bush. Didn't they say if John Kerry cannot carry the immigrant and the downtrodden vote, then he can't win. Democrats have to carry that vote. Well, I have seen the paperwork on this. Very close election between he and George W. Bush.
Oh,
very
yes,
close.
It was very close.
And the vote that put
they had
Bush,
the Swift vote thing against him that really knocked him out.
That did it.
well,
Right.
but the thing, if George Bush had not carried the evangelical vote, he would not have won.
Yeah.
And that is a big vote because
It is a big vote.
the
And the Tea Party.
well,
That's a
the
big vote.
the evangelicals get their buses out and they bus these people to the polls because they assume the person on the other end is everything from the Antichrist to God only knows what. So they really they get a movement going to push their people in.
So where are the Tea Party people? I haven't heard anything from them for a while.
Well, I think that they probably support Newt, but I doubt they support Romney. See, Romney, another big rub on him beside his religion is, of course, that in his state he had universal health care.
Yeah.
Well, he was a governor of a liberal state, so he was more moderate, and I do think that's what the Republicans don't like. That he's too moderate.
Being a friend of Ted Kennedy also probably does not help him.
Isn't that awful? You know something? I am so sick of the Congress, all of them. I mean, this is so un-American as far as I'm concerned. They don't care about the people. They only care about getting elected.
That's right, elected and all the benefits they get from being elected. Health care,
Right.
retirement, and all this. Do they really care anything at all
But
about
this
people?
this has been the worst, I think, from what little knowledge I have of elections. The worst partisanship that the Congress has ever had in the history. I think it is now. I could be wrong, and somebody could tell me that. But
spending millions of dollars in a campaign.
To get a job that only pays you $100,000.
Yes, but they're all
But it's got all those
millionaires.
benefits.
They're all millionaires.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Believe me. But the thing of it is, it just, I don't know.
Well, have you seen the
Upsetting.
Well, the recent development when we're taping this show is who's back now? Donald Trump. And he says, Donald Trump says, I want to have a debate on December the 27th.
He's qualified to be the moderator.
The moderator,
of a debate.
yes.
Come on.
Yeah, he's gonna. Well, no, Newt says let's go. Newt says I'll be happy to partake in that.
Yeah, they want his money.
Well, think about this. Newt Gingrich has said he will. Romney has not answered. The two who said they won't are Huntsman and Ron Paul.
And good
Trump,
for them.
Well, Trump attacked them personally.
Oh, I know.
He said they have no real business being in there. They're not going to win. It's good they're not coming that way. They're not going to take up people's time.
Oh.
Democrats ought to really like all that.
They do.
Well, you have
They
to.
absolutely do.
Well,
I
is
mean,
Donald Trump a Democrat? I think he might be. He's
I
trying to
don't
wreck the
Hard to
Republican
tell what he
Party.
is.
Oh, I don't think he
Except
is.
rich.
No. Yeah, he's very rich.
Yeah, but do you think Donald Trump is really sitting down thinking me attacking the Republican candidates is really doing them
Donald
good?
Trump is an arrogant
Ego.
person.
It's all
he is
ego, yeah.
ego-driven to the heights.
But what do you think this debate will do for him, and what risk is it for the candidates to go up there and let
That
this
is
guy
true.
who's never
It might be a
moderated?
risk for some of them. I think the ones that aren't going to participate are smart.
Why doesn't the
That's what I think John Huntsman is. I don't know
Why doesn't the Republican chairman stand up and say, you don't go to a debate like this. I'm going to discourage this. Because even I heard the apparent demon of all demons in the Republican Party, Karl Rove, came out and said...
Oh, he's against
He said,
Gingrich.
don't do it. Well, no,
Yes.
Karl Rove said, don't go to this Trump debate.
Yes.
Trump attacked him and said,
Oh,
look what he gave us, George W. Bush. He doesn't know anything. And then George Will came out, the great writer,
Yeah, well,
said, don't
he's-
go to the debate.
Yeah, because he's a real conservative, George
Well,
Will.
and then Trump says he's a hack writer. He doesn't... What is going on over
Well, that's
there?
what I'm saying. It's a joke. Everything is a joke. It's gotten to be a circus, and it's kind of sad. It really is.
Well, do you think, though, Trump carries that much weight in the Republican Party that Newt Gingrich, who's the front runner...
Newt Gingrich didn't have enough money. And really, his campaign was not financed very well, or not any finances, or very little. And I think that's why he's onto the Trump wagon. That's my opinion.
Well, we understand that Newt will do it. Huntsman and Ron Paul won't do it. Santorum says he will do it. So that leaves, Mr. Middle of the Line, Mitt Romney. Does he do it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Does he do it, Charlie?
I don't know. I look at Mitt Romney as kind of a nice guy.
I do too. I mean, he
You know,
seems to
I
be
mean,
sane.
Yeah, I can't picture him coming out and really blasting or defaming anyone. He seems pretty level-headed that way.
Could he survive in a Trump debate?
I don't know.
Do you think
I
that-
think he could. I think he did very well in the last couple of debates. I think
yeah.
he did very well.
Well, with reporters on networks, this is Donald
Yes,
Trump.
I know, and who knows what kind of questions he's going to ask.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, I think that would scare you half to death.
To me, that's a risky thing. If I were he, I wouldn't. If I were Mitt Romney, I don't think I would participate.
Well, do the Republicans owe some kind of debt to Donald Trump? Because on Meet the Press on Sunday, they had the Republican chairperson. He didn't say he was for it, but he didn't say he was against it. He sat there and said, well, we've had debates on MSNBC, and it certainly doesn't do us a great service to have Rachel Maddow and the other guy, their lead guy off at 8 o'clock, can't think of his name,
No.
but Ed Schultz,
Right.
have them doing debate critique. That certainly didn't do us any good. But it's a news channel, and the guy on Meet the Press, David Gregory, said, that was sponsored by NBC News,
Yes,
not
that's right.
MSNBC.
That's true.
But this even the department chair, the Republican head of the Republican National Committee, won't defame Trump. Does he have some kind of stranglehold on them?
Well, he probably does, but who knows? But
It has to be money.
you have to ask the tough questions. You have to ask tough questions of all the candidates, Republican and Democrat. You have to ask the tough questions, and I see nothing wrong with it. The only thing I don't like is all of this meanness and vitriolic comments that come out of some of their mouths.
Do you think there's anything to... Donald Trump wanted to run. I mean, it was very apparent, I think, at one point he wanted to
You know
run.
something, he just wants to make more money and he wants to sell books.
Oh, okay,
In fact, some people are saying that's what Newt Gingrich is all about.
But do you think there's anything to this debate will happen on December the 27th? That is, 7 days before the Iowa caucus.
Mm-hmm.
There's no law that says Trump cannot run. as a write-in, a Ross Perot type
sure
of thing?
could.
Okay, now if Donald Trump, Newt's already said he'd do it, and he's the front runner in Iowa. If you and Santorum says he'll do it, you get Mitt Romney and Rick Perry and Bachmann on that debate, and you're the moderator. You defame them something fierce, and you turn around on the 28th and say, I question these people, and they're so terrible, I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
Now think of the big push he would have.
Yeah.
I mean, could that happen?
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awful close to the cutoff point there.
Yeah.
And Mitt Romney, I don't know if he can combat anybody. He has the one thing I don't get about Mitt Romney is whenever the big challenges have come from Perry, who had a lot of money, from Gingrich now, from Kaine when he got the big momentum. When the big challenges come, he can't stop them. He just stands there middle of the line and stays in second place, but he can't stop their push. He just waits for them to implode on themselves.
Well, I'll just be glad when this is all over with. I am so tired of it.
Well, we haven't even got to the real nasty yet, and that'll be the election. Once they get a nominee,
Yes.
then they'll all turn toward Obama,
Yeah.
and then you'll get the real whatever's going on. Hey, it was Political Wednesday, and certainly had a lot to talk about, and will they go to the debate? I don't know. Tune in for the 27th. Talk to you later.